Good evening. Let's talk. For those watching on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Periscope, uh, we have a nice chat today. We are going to chat with Mr. Steve Holder, who's running for Congress for the District 1 of the great state of Tennessee. How you doing, Steve?
Just fine. Good to be here.
That's great. That's great. Well, I'm glad that you reached out to me. The pleasure definitely is mine to be able to chat with you. Basically, from what I read of your bio, just to be able to chat with an ordinary guy who wants to make a change in the world. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, Steve.
Well, I'm 65 years old. I've never been in politics before. This is new for me. I was born right here in Northeast Tennessee in Kingsport. I grew up in Johnson City, where I still live. I joined the Army when I was 18. I was in the 101st Airborne. Uh, when I got out of the Army, I'd done lots of jobs, just regular working class jobs, worked in factories, done some selling and, just different things. And I was in my 40s, I guess, when I started really getting into the ministry. And I did a lot of things in the ministry over the years. And then when I was in my late 50s, I started writing really, really a lot. And I've written and published 8 books, two of them fiction and the rest nonfiction. One of them is my autobiography called No One Walks Alone. And nowadays, I do a lot of writing and I do a lot of politicking on social media mostly since the coronavirus. Nobody wants to be around people anymore. So, we campaign mostly online nowadays. So I just want to get the word out to people, that I am running. And the reason that I'm running is because I'm tired of seeing all the millionaires and the billionaires buy elections, and they even bum money from you because they want you to pay for the privilege of voting for them.
Mm.
And I haven't asked for a penny during my whole campaign, and I'm not planning on it. I've spent less than $100.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in this same race wanting to be U.S. Congress in the first district. They've spent millions of dollars. And only one of them is going to make it to November the 3rd to face off with me. Think about
So,
that.
so we had emailed each other back and forth, and just give us a little brief about your platform and like you said, why you're running like the poor man's campaign, the regular guy next door, the need to get the quote unquote bought politicians out of office who serve the special interest groups and so forth and so on. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Here in the first district, we've had a Republican in this office since the 1800s. And it's not just a Republican, it's always a rich Republican.
Mm.
Yeah. It's always a white dude. And I wanted to do something different because, there's things that I really, really believe in that are not getting addressed. And one is the whole racial issue. This is a very racist part of the country. I'm sure you don't have a hard time believing that. Um, and it's systemic, and there's a lot of people that want to change that, but the politicians largely don't address that. They're comfortable with the things being the way they are. So I want to address that issue. I want to make sure it stays out in front. I'm also very much interested in fighting this whole pandemic of human trafficking. There's a lot of human trafficking goes on in this part of the country.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of parents sell their kids into slavery to get drugs right here in Northeast Tennessee. That's something that's really epidemic, and that's not acceptable. I hate that. And I want to be there for and speak for people who normally don't have a voice, the poor people, the minorities and the the people that normally don't fit in with the Republican status quo. You know, it's time somebody spoke for just a regular, ordinary person. Uh, I have no political debts to pay. Like I said, I've spent my own money, less than $100 on this campaign. Um, there's a lot of dirty politics going on right now in this area. If you could see the TV locally, you would see the people that I'm running against, the Republicans. They're spending millions of dollars to badmouth each other.
Wow.
And most people are really sick of it. I'm sick of it. And, you know, I'm having a hard time getting the media to take me seriously. The local media just ignore me. I don't even exist to them, even though I've reached out to them several times. But the rich Republican dudes, they will give them all the time they want. You know, it's totally rigged. It's totally unfair. It's unjust. And I'm in this race to give just regular people like me a voice. And whether or not people want to take that seriously, that's up to them. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was shocked. When the you brought up the establishment sometimes doesn't understand the systemic racism. Even the attorney general the other day said he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it
Yeah,
to be true. And
yeah,
it's so many people. If you got 20, 25 people, 30 million people telling you it's true, it's true.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so so have you tried before you decided to run for Congress? Did you try to work within the local politicians to try to let them hear your voice, let them hear what you had to say, or they just
I've
ignore
been
everybody?
I've been really active on social media, stating my opinions. I've got almost 5,000 people on my friends list, and I'm sure I don't know 500 of them. Uh, but I'm very outspoken politically, and people that know me know where I stand, and I always go out of my way to help people where I can. And this is just a chance for me to take one more step and go one more walk another mile in the shoes of people just like me that don't have a voice. Somebody needs to speak for just regular people. And these millionaires and billionaires that keep buying the elections, they don't care about us. They do not care about us. They take care of themselves and their rich buddies, and they want to keep that system going. They don't care about minorities. They don't care about poor people. They care about themselves.
So have they? Let me ask you: have they turned a blind eye also on the trafficking down there?
It has been mentioned a few times in the press, but the politicians, like for example, the Republicans that are really, really putting a lot of money into this now, they don't even mention it. It's
Mm,
just not something on their radar.
wow.
And we hear a lot of things nowadays about pedophiles and politicians and pedophile rings. The whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. The guy that did not commit suicide.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they're sick of that, but they won't think of it as being somewhere else out there. But that kind of thing goes on everywhere,
Do you
and I'm
do you
sick of
think
it.
that when you've like I grew up in an area that's basically all Democrat for years and years, a Democratic stronghold. Even now, I live in a very Republican stronghold. You grew up in a real Republican stronghold. You said it's been Republican since the 1800s. Do you
Yeah.
think that sometimes the politicians, the establishment, feel as though that the people work for them instead of
Oh
the other
yeah.
way around?
Yeah, absolutely. And for whatever reason, the poor Republicans in this area think that these rich Republicans are speaking for them. They care about them. And I don't know why that is. You would think it would be the poor people would be for the Democrats, the people that are trying to help them, but they're so brainwashed, mostly. And they just really think these big career politicians, like the big name here on this in this campaign is Rusty Crowe. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not. He's been in the state house for 30 years. He is one of these career politicians, and in my opinion, he's the man that's going to be the next congressman in the first district. No matter what I do, no matter what all these other rich people do, I believe he's the man that's going to get it. He's going to get coronated. He's going to get the crown, and he's an institution in this part of the country.
Okay.
And I
Yeah,
think
he's
that's pretty much what's right, in my opinion.
as we like to say, he's one of the gatekeepers, so they got to throw him a bone every now and then.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, have you, before you decided to run against him as an independent, have you tried to like listen? You got to be common. You got to listen to the common man, listen to the common women, listen to what us poor people have to say. We just want good jobs, good school, family protected. Our values are important. Do you think that they get it?
I, I don't think so. People that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they don't get it. These big, like Donald Trump, for example, he don't have a clue what normal people go through. You know, Poverty is an abstract concept. It's something they think about the hired help. We're not the real important people,
Yeah.
and we're just commodities to them. They use us and abuse us, and we're supposed to love it and accept it.
So let me ask you, Steve. I know we, like you said, you wrote 8 books. Your autobiography. I read what Amazon had to say about it. So that was like a self reflection book of just your journey up until the time that you wrote it.
Yes, yes, that came out in December of 2018. And I'm not married. I've never been married. Well, yeah, I was married once, but that's another story in itself. I have no kids, so I don't have any grandkids, no legacy. So I wanted to tell my story, my way, in my words, and get it out there. I guess you can say just my legacy, so I won't be forgotten. Uh, and it was very therapeutic. I talk a lot in this book about my struggles with depression, anxiety, and addiction. And it's something that was really, really meaningful for me, and it still is. And that's who I am.
Yeah, you surprised me, Steve, when you told me that you spent less than $100 on your campaign. It kind of threw me back because some of these politicians, like it's like they get the Brinks truck to back up for them, and they spend a lot on ads,
Yeah.
TV. They actually spend more money probably on smear campaigns nowadays, more than actual explaining the platform and what's going on.
Exactly, exactly. Think of all the poor people you could help with those millions they spend on campaign signs and TV commercials. You could really do a lot of good with that money. But
Yeah.
it's all about tooting their own horn to the world and cutting down the other people. I hate it. I hate it.
So are they have what about the debate stage? I don't know about Tennessee politics. Are they having a debate for Congress, or is it
Well,
some things that you can do or to try to put
well,
a dent in the stronghold down there?
I'll give you an example. Last week there was a debate, and the six biggest Republican money raisers were invited to the debate, and that's it. The six people that had raised the most money got to be in the debate, and it was on TV. The rest of us, we just didn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I know. Unless you're in like the big markets, I used to always hear about voter fraud and tampering, and like I said, I grew up in New Jersey, and it's bigger cities, so it's like it's easier to elect to vote. But then when I moved and seeing how some people don't have transportation, some people don't have valid ID, where they try to get to the polls to vote. and the way you just explained to me how Tennessee is like these donors have all the clout. I can only imagine how many people may want to come out and vote for who they choose to vote for, but they feel like it's a waste of time. I just don't want to vote for nobody.
Exactly, exactly. And people like me, they, 9 times out of 10, they won't even take seriously for the simple reason that the media doesn't take people like me seriously. And that's for a lot of people get their point of view. They're told what they're supposed to think, how they're supposed to think about it. You know how that goes. It's a
Yeah.
mess.
So besides what we had addressed about social media and you having a good social media presence, because 5,000 people is actually the limit on a
Right.
personal account.
Yeah.
Wh- Outside of that, what have you tried to do to combat them having the access to the mainstream media and you not having that access?
I've reached out a lot to the media, and I've tried to get interviews. Even when I come out with the book, I would try to get interviews locally. And I'm a nobody. I'm not rich and famous, so they don't care. And 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 the politics here, if you're not a Republican, you're somebody they tolerate. And even the Democratic candidate, she's getting some publicity and she raised a lot of money. But, I'm considered less than her. She has no chance
Wow.
at all.
Wow, it's. I mean, I can only imagine with not having a party, a big party affiliation, definitely in a stronghold. What you're going through, even the local, like you said, the local people, yeah, they know you as Steve. They know you're Steve Holder, but now you're running for Congress. Now you know, you can't
Nobody.
even, can't even get the local paper to talk about you.
Exactly, exactly.
Wow, wow. I mean, like I said, I appreciate you reaching out to me, and like I said, I'm here for your voice. You're more than welcome to explain your platform. This is why I wanted to interview you because I want you to be able to explain the ordinary guy who just sees some change that needs to be changed in Washington and what's going on in their home state, and it's really unfortunate. Like I said, prior to the interview going live, a lot of us have kind of like given up on politics, and it's like,
Yeah,
the hell with it. And then
yeah, yeah,
our friends and family may say, well, if you don't vote, that's like giving your vote to somebody, and then you're feeling guilty. So it's
yeah,
like, you don't
yeah.
want to get, you feel like your vote don't count if you do vote, and they're just going to go to Washington and just keep business as usual.
Yeah, yeah. Less than 50%. I'm thinking, if my memory serves me correctly, about 25% of registered voters will go out and vote.
Mm.
And, that's really sad. That's really sad.
It's
But
Steve. It's amazing that most people don't know who their state congressmen are. Like they don't
yeah,
know and don't care, and they don't realize like even in Washington, they don't know how to hold them accountable. It's
right.
but I don't want to talk about, like I said, my personal feelings about it. I mean, you're boots on the ground. You're fighting for us. Even though I live in Pennsylvania now, and I definitely appreciate you taking on, as we say, the poor man's campaign and trying to fight against the establishment. I'm quite sure it's really hard. You probably pissed a lot of people off when you decided to throw
Oh,
your hat in
yes,
the ring.
every day. I'm getting good at that. I'm getting good at that.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
Steve, is it anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I just would like to have a chance to be heard. My website is steveholderforcongress.com. And please check me out there and see what I'm all about. Um, and if any local media people happen to catch this, I'm here. Uh,
Yes.
and
Steve Holder for Congress, District 1 in the great state of Tennessee, everyone. I mean, I'm quite sure, like I said, my audience is probably like, how did he hook up with a guy from Tennessee? But, things happen for a reason,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad to be on. I'd love to come back anytime you want me. I'd love to.
Definitely, definitely, Steve, and we'll stay in touch. And before November 3rd, we'll definitely have you back on, and
Great.
we'll go from where how things look. And like you said, you don't know what or if you're gonna win, but we're gonna hold whoever does win. We're gonna hold their feet to the flame. Like you
Absolutely.
work for the people, and we need to
Absolutely.
hold them accountable.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right. With that, Steve, I appreciate you for joining us, man, and take care and have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.